Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Whatever Happened To, the series where we take a where are they now look at players who found success in the National Hockey League but are no longer permanent fixtures in the league, either due to controversy, poor play, or just rotten luck. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at a 7-year veteran of the league, as we ask, whatever happened to Cam Barker? After being selected 3rd overall in the 2004 NHL entry draft by the Chicago Blackhawks, Cam Barker would spend nearly the entirety of the next 2 seasons with the Medicine Hat Tigers of the Western Hockey League, where the Canadian defenseman put up 20 goals and 46 assists for 66 points in 78 regular season games, as well as 18 points in 25 playoff games. Barker would play in his NHL debut during the 05-06 season, as he did suit up in 1 game for Chicago after signing his 3-year entry-level contract in August of 2005, but he would spend most of those 2 years refining his game in the juniors. Having reached the end of his eligibility in the juniors at the end of the 05-06 season, and with Barker eager to begin his professional hockey career, the former first-round pick wouldn't have to wait long to suit up in the NHL once more. The 06-07 season saw Barker start the year injured, having undergone ankle surgery the month prior. Once he recovered, he began his season with the Norfolk Admirals, Chicago's AHL affiliate at the time, and had a decent outing with the team, as he notched 5 goals and 10 assists for 15 points in 34 games. This production caught the attention of the Blackhawks management, who decided to reward Barker's play by calling him up to Chicago's roster. Only 2 years after he was drafted, the former 3rd overall pick was getting his first real chance to make a good impression in the best league in the world. Barker spent the remainder of the season with Chicago and had a decent outing with the Original Six franchise, as he scored a goal and 7 assists for 8 points in 35 games. Whilst this production wouldn't help the Blackhawks make the playoffs, Barker was sent back down to help Norfolk's postseason push for an AHL championship. Barker scored 4 points in 6 playoff games, but Norfolk was eliminated in the first round by the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. After getting his first real taste of the NHL, Barker was understandably craving more. Thanks to his improving production, it wouldn't be long until he would be back for more. The 07-08 season saw Barker begin the season with Chicago's new AHL affiliate, the Rockford IceHogs, where he picked his production up where he left off last season, scoring 8 goals and 11 assists for 19 points in 29 AHL games. After continuing his strong play, Barker was called up to the Blackhawks roster for the remainder of the season once again. Barker saw his production improve noticeably in the NHL this time around, as he notched 6 goals and 12 assists for 18 points in 45 games. However, this production wasn't good enough to help Chicago return to the playoffs, as they missed the postseason for the 5th straight year and 9th time in 10 seasons. Though he had had modest beginnings in the best league in the world, Cam Barker was about to become a key contributor for the Blackhawks in the following season. The 08-09 season saw Barker have a breakout year in the NHL and become a regular occurrence on the scoresheet for the Blackhawks, as the Canadian forward scored 6 goals and 34 assists for 40 points in 68 games during his first full season in Chicago. These numbers would be the best single-season stats of Barker's entire NHL career. This production helped Chicago finally return to the playoffs, where Barker notched 9 points in 17 games, but the Blackhawks were eliminated in the conference finals by the Detroit Red Wings. Having recorded career-high numbers last season, and with his entry-level contract fulfilled, the Blackhawks wished to keep Barker in the fold and give him a noticeable raise during the following seasons. So, on July 6, 2009, Chicago signed Barker to a 3-year, $9.25 million contract worth an average annual value of just over $3 million a season to remain with the team. Just like that, Barker had earned the first big contract of his career. Little did he know that the best hockey of his career was already behind him. The 09-10 NHL season saw Barker take a large step backwards in his production compared to the prior season, as he only put up 4 goals and 10 assists for 14 points in 51 games during the first season of his multi-million-dollar contract. Then, in a rather unexpected move, on February 12, 2010, Barker was traded to the Minnesota Wild in exchange for Kim Johnson and Nick Leddy. Less than a year after signing his new contract, Barker was moving to a completely different city and playing for a completely different team. But things wouldn't work out so well the second time round. Barker finished the season with Minnesota, scoring 1 goal and 6 assists for 7 points in 19 games. However, this production was not good enough to help Minnesota make the playoffs, as they missed out on the postseason for the second straight year. With 2 years still remaining on the contract he signed earlier in the year, Barker was looking to find his previous form once again, show that he deserved the amount he was getting paid, and prove he could be a top defenseman in the league. However, the hockey gods had other plans. The 10-11 NHL season saw Barker suit up for Minnesota once again and have a terrible season with the team, as he only managed to score a goal and 4 assists for 5 points in 52 games. This would be the worst single full season production in Barker's entire NHL career. This nosedive of production also did nothing to help Minnesota's playoff hopes, as they missed the postseason once again. With Barker clearly underperforming on what was expected of him, things were about to go from bad to worse for the Canadian defenseman. After only scoring a measly 12 points in 71 games with the Wild, Minnesota decided that they had seen enough, and they wished to remove Barker from their roster. So, on June 25th, 2012, Minnesota placed Barker on unconditional waivers and bought out the final year of his contract that he signed back when he was with Chicago. After seeing his production regress the last few seasons, Barker's NHL career was slipping through his fingers fast, but he wasn't about to give up just yet. After having the remainder of his contract bought out, Cam Barker became an unrestricted free agent and was looking for a fresh start with a different team to try and find his game once again. So, on July 1st, 2011, he signed a 1-year, $2.25 million contract with the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, Barker was moving across the border in the hopes of proving he still belonged in the National Hockey League. However, things wouldn't turn out quite the way he wanted. The 11-12 NHL season saw Barker suit up for the Edmonton Oilers and continue to play the disappointing hockey fans had come to expect of him, as he only scored 2 goals in 25 games with the Canadian franchise. This lack of production didn't exactly help Edmonton's playoff hopes, as the Oilers missed out on the playoffs for the 6th straight season. After his 1-year contract had ended, Edmonton understandably weren't interested in re-signing Barker to remain with the team, thus making Cam Barker an unrestricted free agent once again. Due to his poor play in the past few seasons, Barker found little interest from NHL teams in signing him. Barker remained a UFA throughout the 2012 offseason until he signed a PTO contract with the Texas Stars, Dallas's AHL affiliate, in September, shortly before the season began. Just like that, Barker was returning to the American Hockey League for the first time in nearly half a decade to try and find his game again and return to an NHL roster in the coming seasons. The 12-13 season saw Barker start the year in Texas and have an okay start, as he scored 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points in 23 games. However, after his PTO contract had ended, Texas didn't extend Barker's contract, meaning that the former 3rd overall draft pick became an unrestricted free agent yet again. This status didn't last long though, as on January 13th, 2013, he signed a 1-year, $700,000 contract with the Vancouver Canucks. Just like that, Barker was getting one last chance to prove he belonged in the NHL. Did everything work out for him? Well, Barker spent the remainder of the season with Vancouver, but only managed to score 2 assists in 14 games with the team. These numbers, or lack thereof, didn't hinder Vancouver's playoff hopes though, as they did make the postseason, but Barker didn't play a single playoff game that year due to being a healthy scratch, as the Canucks were swept in the first round by the San Jose Sharks. After his contract with Vancouver had ended, and with the team not interested in re-signing him, Barker once again found little interest in his services from NHL teams. Rather than waiting for a team to be desperate enough to sign him, Barker decided to take his talents overseas as he signed with Barris Astana of the KHL. Just like that, Barker was moving to the other side of the world in the hopes of carving out a successful second half of his career in the best hockey league outside of North America. The 13-14 season saw Barca suit up for Barış Astana for the first time and have a pretty good first season outside of North America, as he potted 2 goals and 10 assists for 12 points in 26 games during his first season in the KHL. This production was good enough to help Barış make the playoffs, where Barca scored 3 points in 10 games, but Astana was eliminated in the second round of the Gagarin Cup playoffs by Salavat Yuleev. After his 1-year contract with Barış had ended, Barca wished to return to North America and try his luck in the NHL once more. Luckily, he got that chance as he signed a PTO contract with the Chicago Blackhawks, the team that drafted him 3rd overall a decade ago. However, after failing to impress Chicago's management or coaching staff a second time around, on September 27, 2014, the Blackhawks announced that they had released Barca from his tryout contract. Barca remained an unrestricted free agent until December 22, 2014, when he signed a 1-year contract with HC Slovan Bratislava of the KHL. Just like that, Barca was returning to the top league on the other side of the world in the hopes of picking up where he left off and continuing to carve a second half of his career more successful than the first. The 14-15 season saw Barca suit up for Slovan for the first time and continue his roughly point every other game pace in the best league outside of North America, as he potted 9 assists in 18 games. Though he played pretty well, this production wasn't good enough to help Slovan make the 2015 Gagarin Cup playoffs. After the season ended, both Cam Barca and Slovan felt that it would be mutually beneficial if the Canadian defenseman stuck around for another season. So, Barca signed a 1-year contract extension with the team for the upcoming season. The 15-16 season saw Barca take to the ice for Slovan once again and play very well for the Slovakian team, as the former 3rd overall pick scored 9 goals and 31 assists for 40 points in 55 games, his best single-season point production in 6 seasons. This strong outing was good enough to help Slovan return to the playoffs, where Barca put up a single assist in 3 games, but Bratislava was eliminated in the first round by CSKA Moscow. After his 1-year extension with Slovan had ended, Barca decided to remain in the KHL, but returned to his previous team in the league, as he signed once again with Barış Astana to a 1-year contract. Barca had seemingly found a home in the KHL, but his residency in Europe's top league wouldn't last as long as Barca would have liked. The 16-17 season saw Barca return to Barış Astana for his second season with the team and put up similar numbers to the first time around, as he potted 6 goals and 10 assists for 16 points in 55 games. This limited production compared to his past season still helped Barış make the playoffs, where he put up 2 assists in 10 games, but Astana were eliminated in the second round of the playoffs by Metalurg Magnitogorsk. After his contract with Barış Astana had ended, Barca decided to bounce back to his other former team in the league as he signed once again with Slovan Bratislava. Whilst he would be suiting up for the Slovakian franchise for the 3rd season, this would be the last time Cam Barca would play in the KHL. The 17-18 season saw Barca suit up for Slovan once more and continue to produce similar numbers to seasons prior, as he put up 2 goals and 8 assists for 10 points in 37 games. However, midway through the season, Barca decided to terminate his contract with Slovan and leave the KHL behind, as he signed a contract with the SCL Tigers of the Swiss National League for the remainder of the year. After 5 seasons playing in the best league outside of North America, Barca was moving to another European league to prove he still had gas left in the tank and could be a consistent and reliable hockey player. Barca suited up for 3 games for the SCL Tigers and put up a goal and an assist in that span to finish off his 17-18 season. However, the Tigers were unable to make the playoffs, so Barca's season ended with the conclusion of the regular season. After the season ended, Barca decided to take his talents to another European league and try to find his game elsewhere, as he signed with Ilves Tampere of the Finnish Liga on a tryout contract. Barca was moving to his 3rd league in 2 seasons and was looking to show he could still be a serviceable defenseman in the professional hockey world. However, things wouldn't work out how Barca had wished once again. The start of the current 18-19 season saw Cam Barca suit up for Ilves of the Finnish Liga and have a slow start, as he scored only a single goal in 7 games. This lack of production did nothing to impress Tampere's management, so unfortunately they decided to terminate his tryout contract with the team, thus making Cam Barker an unrestricted free agent once more. To this day, Cam Barker remains as an unrestricted free agent of the hockey world. Though he probably still has some good years of fitness left in him, as he is only 32 years old, considering his production in the last few seasons has been woefully down compared to his previous career bests, it's highly unlikely that he will find many offers from teams in the top leagues around Europe, least of all in North America. Being a defenseman means that a lack of point production can be overlooked if you are a reliable player in your own zone. But Barker has always played his game as more of an offensive defenseman, and having scored just 29 points in the last 3 seasons, I think it's safe to say his best hockey is certainly behind him. Moving forwards, teams around the world will be hesitant to take a chance on Barker, as they know he isn't likely going to set the world on fire or be a consistent point producer with his style of play. But regardless of whether Barker continues to play professional hockey in the next few years, or he decides to hang up the skates in the following months or seasons, the Canadian defenseman did show brief flashes of strong play during his NHL career. In 310 NHL games, Barker scored 21 goals and 75 assists for 96 points, as well as 9 points in 17 playoff games. Add to that the 19 goals and 68 assists for 87 points in 191 KHL games, and it's clear that whilst he never lived up to the hype that comes with being a 3rd overall pick, he has seen some success over the years, and has experienced all the highs and lows that come with being a professional athlete over his 13-year professional playing career. And there you go. That's what happened to Cam Barker. What do you think about Barker's career? Is it good, bad, or do you think he is a pure example of someone with high potential that just didn't know how best to utilise his skills? Also, is there another player that you would like me to look at as part of this series? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think, especially if you have a defenseman to recommend, as I need to look at a few more defensemen as part of this series. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. A big thank you to Chris Gadsby, Max Artis, and Nat Marlowe for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.